Hey guys, have you ever felt like you're being played by the market? Whether
Hmm.
it's can't miss trading bot or the latest media spin, or maybe it's that trading guru who's going to basically give you the secret to life-changing returns. So how do you really know what to believe? In this episode of Trading Truths, Mike and I are going to dig in and kind of not necessarily expose, but we're going to maybe reveal some questions you should be asking to make sure that jumping on the wrong wagon doesn't cost you a lot of money. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, good morning, Dennis.
So, how was your weekend?
Yeah, weekend was good, productive, got a lot of stuff done. Looking forward to digging into this. How about you?
We had a really good weekend. We actually had somebody present to us on not how to vote, but how to go in and double check them to check the policies, check how other people voted. But and I didn't know that there's these websites that were available that could actually show you exactly how our elected officials have done in the past. Because you have to know them by their fruit. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's amazing. I found that oftentimes on the campaign trail, some of the politicians actually lie.
Really? Wow, that's shocking.
I know. Anyway, hey, in this segment, we're going to dive into three areas where traders often get misled: automated trading bots,
Okay.
financial media narratives, and
Okay.
untrustworthy gurus. The truth is, it's easy to fall for the hype. Um, but here, but we're here to help. And so, Mike, have you ever fallen for any of the hype out there? And you got an example of that?
Well, gee, I used to fall for everything really, and this was well when you're starting out, and I started out 25 years ago, right? Yeah, is it 25 years ago? Yeah, 99. That's 25 years ago. I fell for every sort of marketing ploy, every sort of thing that was hyped up on the news, everything that was handed to me. I believed, and that led it to all sorts of problems because it wasn't that people were necessarily lying. It's that I was lazy
Oh,
and I took what was told to me and I just said, okay, here, you take my money. You seemed like you know what you're talking about. And well, that got me into all sorts of trouble.
yeah.
And I don't think that that part of it has really changed that much as far as the the marketing element of it, right? So
Okay.
so way back when my first encounter with the market was at my local bank, and I thought that that's where you went to go place trades, and they told me, no, we don't do that here, but we do have all these mutual funds. Why don't you take a look at these?
Yeah.
And I'm said, okay, well, I'll pick a few of these, and now I've got the pros managing it for me, and I have all this diversification, and I'm in a can't lose situation. Plus, it was 99, and everything was going up.
Yeah.
So I bought into all that and just said, well, these guys know what they're doing. And so therefore, I don't need to.
Yeah, I
And
get that.
that's a recipe for disaster. And I think that we have similar today, where if you trust the marketing of, well, here's a bot, and this bot has been programmed, and there's AI involved, and all this, it's very tempting to say, well, this thing's a genius. Here are the results. There's back testing, so
Yeah.
they've done their studies. So here you go. Here's all my money, and well, have a nice day.
Yeah, 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 basically. Yeah, you hit on something that really kind of resonated with me when you said that you were just kind of lazy. Um,
Mm.
uh, I get that because oftentimes when you're first getting started with trading, I mean, you want to do well, and people want to do well. At the same time, there's a tendency to follow what I call the path of least resistance. In other
Mm.
words, what is the easiest way to do that, or who promises the biggest reward for the for the least effort. And I
Right,
think
right.
that in several of these, they, you know, they have crafted the skill of getting people to be emotional.
Mhm.
And did you know that almost all, if not all, decisions are made based on emotions,
Oh, sure.
but then they're justified by logic? Because, hey, I'm a smart guy. I always make good decisions, blah, 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 blah. As you invest in that first thing and it turns on its head and dives for the floor. And so I want to encourage everybody to hang in today, because we're also going to be covering a couple of stocks that you may want to take a look at. Went to a real brief market update, because a lot of exciting stuff going on, a lot of chaos in the world today, and we've got two big things coming up with robo taxi and NVDA. So you're going to take a look at those, and
Mm.
I've got one stock that, I mean, it looks like the egg looks like it's ready to crack. So, hey,
Hmm.
you ready to dig into what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so are trading bots a shortcut to profits, or are they more of a trap?
Hmm. Are they more of a trap or well, I guess it depends. I guess it
Okay.
depends. It depends on a. Here's some of my thoughts on it. And when I was looking at this topic, I had flashbacks to my epidemiology class back in grad school, and well, one of the things that they taught us was about the types of questions to ask and to start to flesh out about some of these things. Well, right, like so. For example,
Oh,
say
okay.
that you
Before
get.
before you go on, Mike, before you go on, okay, I'm just a simple engineer. You have to explain to me, what is epidemiology? I can hardly say that. What's that? What is that exact? Break it down. Put it down to the seventh grade level for me, man.
Okay, so you're given research, you're given a report, you're given, I don't know, so somebody spits out a bunch of stats at you.
Okay.
Sounds pretty convincing. Maybe I should buy into this bot. Maybe I should take this vaccine. Maybe I should vote for this person.
Mm,
It all sounds real good.
okay.
How do you discern whether what they're giving you the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Ah, okay.
You can start to figure that out by the types of questions that you ask.
Ah, okay. Cool. So it sounds like it's a course about being a private investigator.
Yeah, well, in a way,
Kind
yeah,
of.
and it's funny. You just uh, I used to work for a research hospital,
Right.
and the doctors were called investigators because they would investigate
Oh.
cures for X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a big part of it.
Sorry for interrupting, but my engineering mind needed to have that response.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
that's quite all right. So, yeah, it's very important to be able to ask questions, right? So, if they say that they've done the back tests on all these things, well, back testing that, oh, that sounds like a fancy term, and they've got this, and so therefore it proves their bot. Well, it's up to us to one have an understanding of well, what is back testing, and what do you mean by back testing, and well, what
Mm,
are these tests? Can you share them?
right.
And then it would be up to us to be able to go through and see is what they're presenting true? Is this robust?
Okay.
And maybe and let's say that you're like, you know what? I don't have time for all that. I just want to give them my money. Okay, fine. How much money are you going to hand over? Well, let's say that you have $1 million portfolio and you're just going to hand over an amount that you don't care like if it loses or not, you're going to hand over 1%
Okay.
of your $1 million account, right? You're going to hand over 10 grand to them. Well, that might be completely fine. See how it does. Let it sit there
Yeah.
for a little while, and if it does well, great. If it doesn't, well, you're only out 1%. That 10 grand to somebody else might be their entire uh, stake.
Right.
So that's where you can start to get into a little bit of trouble here, because the person that is hearing it and it sounds good, and maybe they don't have a lot of experience, they're like, oh man, well, they've done all this research, it's automated, it sounds really good, I've only got this 10 grand, they'll be able to turn this into a lot more in a pretty short period of time. Here you go.
Yeah. One
And
of the
that's the
things that
same mistake that I made uh,
ah,
back in 99, but it was with mutual funds,
yeah,
but it was on the same premise.
I get you. I mean, I know I understand totally about the mutual funds and how, and also just that I guess I call it the bias of trust. We kind of like look at somebody, we think they're a professional, we think that everything they're doing is on the up and up. And I'm not saying it's not on the up and up, but we basically have this acceptance into, okay, they're the pros, they developed it, they're the scientists, they're the whatever, they're the computer programmers, they know AI, and we lay a lot of credentials on them that then piles on the trust. At the same time, um, at the same time, we need to be able to, check, put a check in the block by what's the potential for profit, and then
Mhm.
one, what's the trap aspect. In other words, typically bots don't a bot doesn't work necessarily in every market condition and can sometimes get you, in a lot of trouble. But the other question I want to ask people as we move on down here, the other question we want to be asking ourselves and having not, when we're faced with, well, do I buy this bot or do I subscribe to this bot or this application, is
Mhm.
what emotion is the marketer appealing to?
Okay.
Okay. In other words, ask yourself, is this appealing to my greed emotion? Is this appealing to my fear emotion? Uh, and there's a lot of other questions to ask them. So, what are some of the common claims made by bot developers, and why do we fall for those claims?
What's so bad about them appealing to your greed or your fear or your this or your that? What's the gripe?
Well, I think it gets back around to, as I said, what claims are they making? Like they make a claim, we'll say, of high probability. They said, hey, you got a high probability. It's 95% sure deal. I mean, I've even seen some that say, hey, 100%, no, not 100%, 90% accuracy with all our picks. Um, and then they talk about the claim of the ease of use, advanced technology, and it makes it and so it's I think that to answer your question about what's wrong with that is I think that a person just needs to be aware, you know, is that and ask themselves maybe the question, does this sound too good to be true? Because a lot of times we've kind of gotten away from asking ourselves that question in all of life. Does this sound too good to be true? And because if we would stop and
Mm.
ask that question, sometimes we say, you know what, just something's kinky here, and I need to ask additional questions. Like I
Right.
said,
And that's where the epidemiology comes in, and that's why it made me think of that.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that that's part of why we wrote the books that we wrote. At least that's part of why I wrote the book that I wrote with the Trading Mind Wheel, because that's the basic skill sets that people need to be able to start to ask the right kinds of
yeah,
questions.
right on, right on.
Right? If you're coming in and you don't know anything, you don't even know what types of questions to ask, and well, this person sounds very smart, so I'm just going to accept what they've got to say. And
Yeah,
dude, I've fallen into that trap so many times. I can't even keep track of it. And it would be from well-meaning people too. Well-meaning people, even in the like the IBD meetups, right?
yeah,
And those are filled with really great people, very well-intentioned people
right,
all on the same track. But I would fall into the trap of, well, this guy that's running it knows a lot more than me, and they're telling me their opinion, so I'm just gonna drop whatever I'm thinking and go with what they're saying. And sometimes that would be helpful, sometimes that wouldn't be helpful. But it wasn't based on what they're saying; it's based on me not being mature enough to be able to ask the right kinds of things.
Okay, sure. And so, no, yeah, and I think that's that maturity, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing this session today is to at least help folks to to build on their maturity, to basically say, wait a second, time out. Because I know a lot of times that when people come to me and they know that I trade stocks, they know that I teach people how to trade stocks and options and that type of stuff. They know I've had a really great success record for the past 13, 14 years. And they basically want to say they're all excited. They would say, I want to learn how to trade stocks, right? Can you teach me? And I basically tell him, what I tell them? I tell them basically, well, no, I can't. I go, no, I don't tell them no. What I do is I say, well, let's get you started with something so that you'll at least be able to understand a little bit, but also know the questions you should be asking. Because before you walk into any type of investment, you should have at least a plan and start building a plan. But right now, you don't even know how to build a plan. You don't know the right questions to ask. And so I basically hook them up with a copy of my book. And I said, when you finish reading this book, now my book is if you're not done with it within a day and a half to 2 days, because it's very direct, a lot of charts, a lot of graphs, a lot of explanations for the three systems, three strategies we trade. But if you're not done with it within 2 days, okay, then there's a disconnect. And so what I do is I say, when you're done with the book, come back to me then, and you'll know the questions to start asking. Now,
Right.
what's beautiful is the guys and gals who do come back and say, hey, I finished the book. Now I'm ready to continue on. I know the questions to ask. I know what I have to do. And by that time, they basically have an account. They put in a brokerage account. They know that they're going to be trading paper money for at least 90 days before they get into trading real money. And so, as Mark Menavie talks about the ease of entry into the world of trading, with this, they know that, hey, there's training, there's other stuff that I have to learn. And so, would you say it was a fair statement that traders fall for the issue of the bots, best because one, it promises passive income. There's this technological appeal. In other words, well, hey, it's the latest in technology. Therefore, even though I don't understand it, that's got to make it good. And then also the selective success stories, highlighting a few cases of major success. But very seldom,
That's all standard
very seldom.
marketing.
Go ahead.
That's all standard marketing.
Yeah.
It's all standard marketing, and maybe we do I don't know if we do a whole show on, but like, how do you just chop through the BS? Maybe that's a great title for a show. Like, just have like a guy with a shovel chopping through the BS.
Yeah, I like it. And so, well, one of the things that, we do have, is that, how do you verify, a bot's back tested and whether it is back tested and all kind of stuff. And so one, you can ask the person who's, giving you or trying to get you to invest in their bot. Tell them, get them to give you a live test so you can see that. And then transparency of independent reviews. Ask the person, do you have any independent reviews? Has somebody else taken a look at this? What's it? And worst case, go over to X, or go over to Google and just Google it, or ask the question on X. Hey guys, have you heard about this bot? You can actually go over there and ask Grok, Grok, if you're a paid subscriber. Hey, what's the scoop on this particular bot? And then check out, community feedback, and make sure you understand the strategy that it's using. What's really funny, Mike, is that As an engineer,
Mhm.
I always run into other engineers who want to start trading. And you know what the thing that they want to build more than anything
Yeah, what's
is an
that?
is an automated trading system, and they all have their ideas about how to run their spreadsheets, how to run their code, how to do all that kind of stuff, and they do some back testing, but it's what I call, in a lot of cases, it's unfiltered, or maybe it is filtered back testing, that it only takes in a certain consideration of a market during a certain period of time, that kind of stuff. And bingo, bango, they find a period in the market where their bot works primo, works
Mhm.
great. And however, they don't share that with people, and they think they've found and then they think they found the holy grail. Plug in their
Mhm.
money, start doing real trades and that kind of stuff. The market conditions change, and all of a sudden they're going, "Uh oh, it's not working anymore." So, engineers, like I said, I think people
Right.
that are of a technical nature, they're built to want to, or their mindset is such that they want to continue, uh, they want to continue improving things, even when it doesn't really need to be improved. So, anyway, hey, let's jump over into our next session. But before we do, using a trading bot without research is like handing your car keys over to a complete stranger and hoping they know how to drive. And the guys in Springfield, what is it, Springfield, Idaho, or something? No, Ohio, or something like that, where they have all the people coming in with all the car accidents, the Haitian resident, the immigrants that are coming in and getting
Mhm.
into crashes because they don't know how to drive. And so, yeah, so it's a situation like that. So let's talk about, is the news guiding you or misleading you? Before you make any moves based on news, take a step back and dig into the real data, and don't let sensationalism sway your strategy. So, how can you see past the headlines and market narratives pushed by the financial media?
I think you touched on it earlier when you said know them by their fruits.
Mm, okay, you
All
have to
right.
you're gonna have to
So,
dig into that one for
well,
me a little
well,
bit.
so here's how I like to do this, right? So, well, when it comes to trading, I'll I'll hear, well, what's it on the news, and sometimes I'll hear what the stories are.
Yeah.
Most of what I'm doing is screening for the kinds of things that I'm interested in, well, namely the earnings and the sales, and making sure that the stocks have these sorts of fundamental things. But then I'll take a look at the chart. Now, the
Okay.
the chart is just the actual decisions that people are making in real time, and you could go back and see, well, here are the decisions that they made for weeks, months, and years ago. And you
Yeah.
could see how the patterns are developing, and you could see the supply and demand developing right in front of your face.
Right.
And so when you know how to read this, you're able to read the thoughts and emotions of the collective.
Mm,
And in
that's good.
doing so, that's part of what's telling me to know by their fruits, by if something is in the news and it's incongruent with what I'm seeing here, then that's part of what helps me decipher, well, here's something that I might want to believe or not believe, or more importantly, I think, is believe the fruits that are in front of me, that it being the charts.
Yeah. So, got a comment from Evan. Evan, thanks for the comment. He was talking about the bot real quick. He said Jim Simons, or Simmons, cracked it. It took a few years and lots of money to do it, but he never shared his bot. Interesting. So, but back to, uh,
And he also said news can be biased and sometimes incorrect. I'd say often incorrect, and almost always biased. And most of what, well, you tell me, is the news of today different than the news of, say, I don't know, 20 years ago or 30 years ago?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. And is it different?
Is it a little bit more sensational? Is it a little bit more
I would
emotional?
say, yeah, I would say that the news of today are especially and I'm just going to talk well in all across all medias. One is is I think the media in the old days was a lot more subtle in how they lied to you.
And now they're more in
And
your face.
and
Now
now they're just flat.
the hood is off. Here is the lies we're gonna tell you today, folks.
It is. I mean, that's true. But I think that going back, because I can remember watching CNBC. No, the CNBC. What's the financial network that CNBC, right? Is the financial network
Yeah, MSNBC or
not MSNBC, but the other one that's the financial network and the Fox
Fox Business.
business network and all that kind of stuff. And I can remember 20 plus 20, 30 years ago uh, that it was basically all the same. And it's the same as it is today. They provide these stories, whatever the stock of the news, of the day is, they'll provide the stories about that. They get the CEOs on right before earnings on kind of stuff. Why? Because they want the CEO, the CEO wants to sell more of his shares and all that kind of stuff. But it's one of those things that they make it, kind of titillating. And a lot of times people listen to. They put a lot of credence on if it shows up on CNBC, CNBC, that it must be the truth, and therefore I need to buy on this. And so they just buy blindly on, hey, they said CAVA is a great stock. I'm going to go ahead and it was on the news. Aha, people must be buying it. I'm going to jump on board the train without any reference at all to what are the real fundamentals. That's one thing. I mean, it's easy place to find fundamentals and just look at IBD. And then secondly, as you were saying, and I'm a firm believer in this also, is that your technical analysis will basically provide you, I would say, everything you need to know about what's driving that stock. And if once you develop that skill, I mean, I think that is the best skill you can develop is once you understand technical analysis and how to interpret and read stock charts, you don't need the news because you'll basically see a particular price pattern and you go, oh, here's what's going on with that price pattern. Here's what's going on. You don't know exactly what's going on, but you know that something took place to drive that, drive that story, drive that reaction in the market. And, it was either tied to either greed or fear and human nature, right? And so, yeah, learning how to interpret price charts, I think, is just a skill that is very much needed. And that if you try to do fundamentals by itself, you're missing part of the story. But at the same time, I think it was Bill and Neil said, use fundamentals and charts to get into a trade, but you only need the charts to get out of the trade.
Yes, that he did say that, and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So I think we have to admit that, the headlines that are put out there are meant to grab your attention. I mean, it's, in the vernacular of today, they're clickbait because, the people who write the article, they want you to click on their article and read it, right? So
Mhm.
like it might be saying, hey, Madonna had her left arm taken off because, she was in, whatever, just something. And Nvidia is now going to spike because they're happy that she did that. That kind of stuff, like total sensationalism, but it would cause somebody to click on the story. And so part of the idea is, hey, understand the source and look at it from, hey, use the brain the good Lord gave you and ask questions. Does this make sense? Um, I am, and also ask yourself, am I so bombarded with news and information that I'm tainted? In other words,
Tainted.
if you're a trader and you have MSNB, not MSNBC, but CNBC, the financial networks going in the background on your television during the trading day, even if you think you're not paying attention to it, subconsciously you're paying attention to it, and
Yeah.
it can stir up the emotions. And like Freud said, is that you know emotions cause our IQ to go down, and so
Hmm.
it puts you in a position where you can make dumb decisions.
Oh, sure. And the same thing goes for this too.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, sometimes every now and again I'll have it sitting on my desk and I'll be doing something, and then I just need some sort of a mental break, and I'll notice myself scrolling through this,
yeah,
and then I've I've gotten to the point where I'll notice that quicker, and I'll take this and I'll go throw it into the other room just to get it away, because our environment matters so much,
yeah,
and
without a
we are in
doubt.
control of our environment to a large degree. Uh, at least what we're consuming. Turn off CNBC. Take the phone, put it in some other room.
Yeah,
Control what's in your sphere, so that way you are able to focus on the things that are important.
I agree, and that's one of the reasons why, like with my mobile,
Hmm.
um, I turn notifications off because I don't like that zit zit zit,
Oh, sure, me too.
going off all the time. So I turn them off. I don't want to be notified. If I want to go check something, I will. But I've heard a couple of great ways to steps you can take to not be you know pelted by the media all the time, is to set up a time of day. And typically, I'm going to say not during the morning, because we tend to be a little bit more high energy in the morning, and also some more susceptible to emotional slants. But maybe in the evening or in the afternoon, after the market is closed, whatever, then pick up your phone and say, "Oh, I'll look at the news," and give yourself an allotted time, like 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes to look at the stories. And then, as you said, put it away. Put it away
Mhm.
and don't
Oh,
use it.
yeah.
That's a
And a great
suggestion.
thing on your phone, if you're doing it that way, you could actually go into settings and set time limits for different apps. And then once you hit it, it'll automatically close down, or at least say, oh, your time is up. And then it'll give you the option of like, oh, like, do you want to add like a little bit more time?
I wonder
And
if do you think I could do that to Michelle's phone? For those of you who don't know, Michelle's my wife. And, and she,
Well,
and
you know
she
what? It ticks off Melissa. I've got my notifications off on everything, including the text messages.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh,
so
and
nobody could get a hold of me until I go and I look, and
yeah,
well, that's just how it is. If it's important enough, call.
and so, I've been whipped around by the media, and the thing that you have to remember that, if you've ever wondered, and I know this is a real quick story, but if you look down at the bottom of the page on the financial networks, you'll see a ticker symbol go running by, tickers of all the stocks
Oh
and all that
yeah,
kind of
sure.
stuff. And that was originally part of the old ticker tape machine that they put into the bucket shops where they would, back in the, around the turn of the century, uh, the century before the last turn of the century, back between the
Yeah, the
1800s
Jesse
and
Livermore days.
2000 and 1900s. Uh, the brokerage shops found the big brokerage found out. They tested it. They put the ticker machines in the bucket shops, and they to give constant updates on the prices, right? And not that I was, but that's what I've heard recordings of. But the what they found was having that constant updating symbols and prices actually increase the amount of trading that took place in the bucket shops. And when they found out in the small test uh, part that they did the testing on, then they started expanding that, throwing them out to all the bucket shops, all the brokered houses across the country, because they found that it stirred an emotion in the traders who are around the bucket shops, and that excitement, just that they didn't want to miss out. FOMO was alive and real even back in 1900. And
Hmm.
so and isn't it interesting how the brokers and the financial networks have brought that forward and put it onto the bottom of our screen? In fact, a lot of times I've noticed when you build a website and you're financially or a stock market highlighted, a lot of times some of the suggestion is put a ticker symbol, scrolling ticker across the bottom of your screen. I don't do that on mine simply because, I know the psychology behind it, and I don't want to fall for that. So, the way you can basically what are the ways we can drown out the noise, Mike, of financial media?
What are the ways that you could drown it out?
Yeah,
Oh, well, we've hit on a couple already. Tossing the phone into the other room, turning off your alerts, turning off the television. I think that a really great thing that you could do, and if you're serious about trading, meaning that you see trading and you want to actually make money with it consistently,
yeah,
and if you're listening to this, I assume that that's you. Uh, Build a business plan for your trading.
spot
Uh,
on.
it's beyond a trading plan. A trading plan, I view a trading plan as, okay, here's a stock that I plan on trading. I'm going to enter here. I'm going to exit there with a loss. I'm going to set my target at this level, and here's how much I'm going to put into it. I view that as a trading plan. I view a business plan as going way beyond that, and that's the methodology that you're going to use, and it speaks to the whole process,
Yeah,
how you're going to analyze, what you're going to analyze, when you're going to analyze, when you're going to put trades on. Everything is all part of your trading business plan. And
cool.
so take the time to write all that stuff out, and once you do, and you can put anything that you want in there, but the
Yeah,
key is that when you're done, that's your plan. So anything that's didn't make its way in, guess what? That's noise. And that's
yeah,
going to
right
be
on,
your filter to
right on.
get rid of 90% of the garbage out there.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, without a doubt. And once you have that business plan, you've got a trading plan, you've got a business plan. I look at it kind of like you have a system, you have a strategy, and you have tactics. Similar type thought
Okay.
process. Okay, um, and that, and if I focus simply on tactics without having the foundation of the strategy and the system below it, I
Hmm.
will tend to tend to really blow it, you know, and uh, and so that's one of the things that I do, and then I want to mentally rehearse my, just close my eyes, spend 5 minutes once it's written, maybe 5 minutes at the beginning of every week, or over the weekend, and rehearse my plans. Rehearse my plans. See the entries, see the orders, see the that kind of stuff, so that it reinforces and those basically channels in the mind, and those connections in our mind, so that it becomes habitual. This
All right.
becomes my routine.
So how do you do that? How do you rehearse that in your mind?
Well, first I close my eyes. Well, okay,
Okay.
no, I've written it out. Okay, I've written out my business plan,
Hmm.
and then I may, ru- you know, also add to that a a couple of different ways. One is I can read my business plan, or just
Hmm.
read the high points of the business plan and then play that back as my mind as my eyes are closed,
Okay.
thinking, soaking that in. So that's one of the ways of doing it. But the other way is just to, um, also, if I finish my market analysis for the week, and I know what I want to be trading, I'll go back and I'll think through every one of those, potential trades I might get into, and I account for both things going my way and also how I will handle things if they don't go my way. And it also reinforces my trust in the system that I know that my stop losses are going to work and all that kind of stuff because they're in place. I know I'm protected. I know and so it's just a reinforcement program I use for myself.
That's great.
And so,
That's great. I'm pretty similar in that regard. What I'll do is I'll take a look at the what are the best trades, right?
yeah,
Like, so what are the model trades? And the model ones are the ones that work well out of the gate. They break out on high volume and they go and these are the ones that you want to study because
right.
you want to be able to find more of those.
Yeah,
Then I wanted to study, well, how did the losers behave, and and what were some of the flags of the losers, and well, what did they do right away? Great, so
right on.
I know right away when to cut those out. And then what's the majority? What's the
Yeah,
majority? Because most of them aren't going to be the models. Most of them aren't going to be the losers. Most of them are going to be your run of the mill kind of trades. How do you expect those to react? Because often what'll happen too is that you'll have a mindset of like, okay, I want to go for the models, and it's not quite acting the way that the model is, and then you fall into the trap of cutting those off too early. Well, it might have just been your run of the mill average trade that, yeah, it's not going to generate 50% return or 100% return in a couple of
yeah,
weeks, but maybe you'll get 10, 15, 20% out of it in a month or so.
yeah. It's funny you say about, you analyze both your winning trades for your model, do you want that type of thing, and why they worked out the way they do. I spent this weekend going back. I have finally had enough data for this year to go back and look at, okay, my losses for the year, right?
Okay.
And I was looking, okay, why, what was causing the loss? Okay. Was
Mm,
I getting in too early? Was I getting in too late? Did I have my signals set up and all kinds of stuff? And so I went back and I reviewed the chart for every one of these trades, and uh,
interesting. All right.
and there was enough to be statistically significant. And so, in other words, there was like 100 trades,
All
um,
right.
and so what I learned from it, which was really great, is my one big takeaway was that the system was working the way it was supposed to be working. It was protecting me, keeping my losses small, did the proper thing on making sure the positions were sized such a way that nothing really hurt, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
great. But what was really interesting is that I also found that because I asked another question on analysis is, well, what happened after I was stopped out? And
Okay.
on almost 90% of those trades, they
Mm-hmm.
went on within approximately 10 to 15 days after I was stopped out. They went on to go, put in a better signal and rally at least 8% or more. The least rally was 8%, the most was 45. And so what that tells me is, okay, here, well, there's an adjustment that needs to be made. Is if I get stopped out of something, I don't throw that stock out with or that ETF out with like a baby with the bathwater. I hold
Mm-hmm.
on to it. So but that's one of the things I learned. But again, it had nothing to do with news media. But so, hey guys, if you're trusting every headline you read, is like chasing shadows. You're constantly reacting to things that aren't real. Wow, that's heavy. So, hey, let's run real quick over the gurus. Gurus, let's run them over. No, let's run
Oh
through the
yeah, yeah.
gurus really quick,
Got
Mike.
to do that.
And so, what should traders look for if a guru is truly offering value or just, selling dreams? We're going to spend about 3 minutes on this.
Yeah, so I think that the first thing that you do, check out their social media, see what they're posting. Are they giving you value up front that you don't
Yeah,
have to give them anything for, including your name or email? If you're able to go to somebody's uh, X account and scroll through, you should be able to find things of value there that uh, should be able to say, okay, I can learn more from this person. Maybe maybe they said something great on X. Maybe they've got something great on YouTube. Maybe they have a blog that you're able to
yeah,
go and read. So something that's out there for free that you're able to get some real meat from, and then that'll tell you, okay, I want to go learn a little bit more from this person. But if they're just saying that, oh well, here are all my results, and here's my car, my Lambo no, I didn't rent that Lambo. It's and take a bunch of pictures in front of it, but
no,
you could have all this.
yeah, they
If that's
probably
the kind
did.
of impression that you're giving, and there's so much out there that's just like that.
Yeah, no,
What is a flashy? All that, the flashy cars, the dinners, uh, that's all just signaling subconsciously that, oh wow, like I want that. Let me listen to what this guy says. It's what's the actual value that they're giving? Well, what's the if they're selling lifestyle? That to me, that's a red flag. If they're giving you something of substance,
yeah.
then that's something to maybe dig into a little bit
Yeah,
more.
because I know in your offerings that you do with Mara Wealth and my offerings with AutoPilot Trading is one, hey, link in and Mike offers basically good value up front for valuable where you get some benefits right off the bat, whether or not you give him your email address or not, but you can link into him that way. And also, over on Spotify, we don't ask for anything on Spotify. If they want, if you want to know more information, that's great. If not, you get everything you see. But then part of mine is I do my YouTube channel, the
Hmm.
Market Tech Talk, and that is totally free. And because my objective is basically put out valuable information that will basically help either put money in your pocket or help you to keep money in your pocket, for different traders. That's
Define valuable, right? So what's valuable? How would you define like? Oh, you're putting out valuable stuff. What makes you think that it's valuable?
well, I mean, I don't think I can define the value. Okay, I think the person who is receiving it has to define the value. Did it make their trading? Did they learn something about trading that they will basically can avoid stepping in a landmine? Okay,
Mm,
that's valuable stuff. Uh, like I just put out my latest YouTube video this past weekend was basically the 8 secrets of when to sell a stock because the market looked like it was weakening and all that kind of stuff. And so,
mhm.
um, and it's a quick, you know, 15-minute video, but it goes through 8 when you sell. And I had a really good comment come back on that. It said, Dennis, this is great stuff. And the comment was, I'm converting this to the 8 commandments of when to sell my stocks. Thou shalt, thou shalt know when to sell your stocks. Thou shalt, and all that kind of stuff. And
Oh
I'm
my
going,
goodness.
okay, that's totally cool.
You
And
getting some stone tablets to etch that on?
I am. I think I'm gonna get on Grok and have it generate a graphic for me of Moses carrying the eight commandments of trading,
Uh,
when to sell.
Oh, you've got to upload a picture of yourself and have it generate the image of you holding
There
the
you go, with all the lightning and all that kind of stuff. So that'd be kind of
they
cool.
that
But
would be
one of the
cool.
things, Mike, I think that because I do want to cover this one stock that everybody needs to know about. And again, guys, if you are getting value from Mike and my discussions on trading truths, I encourage you to subscribe to uh, both the Spotify channel because you'll be notified when we upload new podcast, and secondly, to our YouTube channels. Uh, Check us out there and get to know us a little bit. Get to know us a little bit, and then if you want to go further, that's great. That's awesome. Uh, and so because you will get something of value by that relationship, because that's one thing that both Mike and I are big on. We want to, I mean, the folks who are my premium members over there on the AutoPilot trading, I look at them as being family. I really do. And I know Mike does the same thing. So a couple of things I'm going to jump into some of the warning signs to be looking out for these gurus when they come about is one is too good to be true promises. You can ask, and you just listen. Urgency tactics, act now or you'll miss out. Lack of personal trading evidence. In other words, they're not willing to share what they've traded. They'll put out their one trade. Look, I made 1,000% on this one option trade. But what's their body of work? What is the body of work? Heavy on lifestyle, light on strategy. Woo, Mike, you hit that one right on the nose. And then upsell, upsell, upsell. One of the things that just really just frost my cake is the aspect of somebody will share a partial strategy. They'll share and go, oh, and for if you want the rest of it, here's what you have to do, and it typically has a price tag attached to it, and so yeah, I mean that's just and so it's like the old bait and switch. So I've been burned by gurus only sell half a product. And the other thing I would be looking for is one, see if they have free samples, trials, see if they have a free trial. And ultimately, with what they're selling, is it guaranteed? Now, Mike, do you offer a guarantee with your service?
Yeah.
And what, a 30 day?
Well, with the coaching, there's a guarantee.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's 90 days.
Okay.
People come in, and if you're not satisfied, if you're not making progress or anything, then yeah, they request your refund,
No, that's
and
awesome.
that's it. But part of that too is because occasionally here's what'll happen, right? So I'll give you the worst case scenarios for what happens with that. So somebody comes in, most people will know right away if, okay, this isn't for me, ask for a refund. And that's like, I would say if that's like maybe 1% or 2% of people that walk in the door, that's falling into that camp. The 0.1% are the people that kind of fall asleep at the switch, signing up for things. They wait there. Oh, well, I'm at day 85. Oh, can I have money back? This wasn't for me. There has to be a bit of good faith involved too, because I want people to be satisfied. I want people to be succeeding. I want people to be making money. At the same time, too, you should be a good person, and if you walk into a restaurant, you finish your meal, you have the dessert, and you have like half a cup of coffee left. You know what? I didn't really care for this. Can you refund my bill? Like that's
yeah. We have words. We have words to describe people like that. I won't say what they are right now, but
yeah. Don't be a jerk, right?
Exactly.
That should be the clause.
Exactly. So, no, I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I offer a 30-day money back guarantee for our services. At the same time, what we do is, if somebody goes into our premium services, they get one of the questions I ask before I even let them sign up is, are you willing to go through a 90-day training period to learn this system? So that you'll walk out the other side, you will be a much better trader, because one, you're going to get about 400 simulated trades. And there's a magic mark about 400 simulated trades. And it's going to be incremental learning, and where you learn just the right amount. Because oftentimes when somebody starts something new, they want to binge on it, and they just overload it and gobble down too much, and they have so many questions. Whereas what I found is that if I bring people along, let me help you understand a rate that will make you successful.
Mm,
that's what I focus on. And I will know within the first 2 weeks whether or not they're gonna basically make it or not, because if I go because I can double check and see where they're at with the training program, and if they haven't
mhm,
cracked open a book, I'm standing by. I go, "This person's gonna ask for a return," or, and sometimes I will even here's what I'll do, Mike, is I will if I see somebody who has not cracked the book on the flight path to profits that training sessions, I will send them an email and say, "Hey, what's going on? You said that you would follow this process, and if sometimes there's a legitimate reason why they don't, sickness, health issues, several other things. But for some, it's just like, well, I just don't have time. And oftentimes
mm,
I will say, "Oh, you know what? Let's just part company now. Here's your refund." And
mhm.
then they get taken out of the private Discord channel. They get taken out of all the training sessions and all that kind of stuff because I would I want to feel good knowing that a person can invest in what we have to offer and come out the other side, doing really really well.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, so
So
how much time do you think that people need? Like you said, 90 days, but like how much time do they need to invest per day, would you say, in studying this to go through it?
what I found is that basically if a person will invest 15 minutes to 20 minutes a day,
Okay, that
they
sounds reasonable.
yeah, but it's gotta be every day. There's gotta be a everyday commitment, and, with the, flight path, we provide, basically it's sectioned off into what we call waypoints. Waypoints is a navigation term for when you're flying an airplane where you go to waypoint 1, waypoint 2, waypoint 3, and so it is set up like flight school. An old naval aviator like me, I set up my training sessions to be like flight school. The first
Mhm,
4 weeks is ground school. The next 4 weeks is basic flight, which takes you to a place where you're actually placing orders,
mhm,
and then the last 4 weeks is what I call advanced flight, which gets you up to the place where you can parallel trade and trade with, real money.
mhm,
Um, and at the end of that, you earn your wings, your autopilot trading wings. And we've got several graduates. And what is really remarkable is some of the stories that come from those guys and gals about I I always it was one of my favorite is I always heard that simulated trading was very important to do, but I wouldn't make myself do it. He says, but after going through the 400 simulated trades, he goes, I am so much better because it accelerated my ability to look at a chart and know whether there's trade there or not. And so
mhm.
it's saving me a heck of a lot of time. And
Wow.
so
So
cool
did you
thing.
pick out the 400 trades, or how did you set that part up?
Well, people are gonna, I basically, I'll answer. It's basically set up where people can go back and grab. Basically, I provided past pre-flight checklists that are stocks for the week,
Mhm,
going back in time. Then they can basically go and run those checklists and say, okay, I want to buy, Kava. Let's say that was 4 weeks ago that we did that, and they use the on the Thinkorswim platform, you use the on-demand program, or on TradingView, you can use. I think they have a where you can go back and test the
yeah, they
history,
do. Yep.
and so they go back to the date that was on that pre-flight checklist, and they can start trading that going forward, just like they would have been trading it for real.
Yeah,
And
wow, that's great.
so that's because our mind doesn't know whether you're getting simulated stuff or real stuff. It if it's simulated and simulated well. Um, and also we have the coaching and the videos that show exactly how to do it to step around some of the issues with our to accelerate the process. And so, like I
Mhm,
said, what it's intended to do is accelerate the process. Now, will it make you an absolute 100% master trader after 90 days? The answer to that is we're always on a a path to become a master trader. I haven't become a total master trader yet. And I don't, if you have either, because we're always continuing to try to master, but it gets you to the place where you have confidence. Our traders have confidence in the system and confidence in themselves to
Right,
execute the
absolutely.
system. So,
You've got to have both. You've got to have both, and yeah, I don't think that process ever ends. You could we'll probably agree on this point, but the more that I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
exactly. And one of the things we do for them do for our members with the flight path to profits is is when they ask, because it's a mentoring session too, where they can tap into mentoring, is when they're asking questions that are outside of the incremental learning piece. We don't answer them. Well, we basically, the answer is, you don't need to know that right now. And so trust us, you don't need to know that right now to be successful, because many people step into trading thinking they need to know more than they really need to know to be successful. In other words,
Mm,
they have this belief, that, well, I'm not succeeding in trading because I need to learn, I need to know more. But when you talk to some of the best traders in the world, what do they talk about? Oh, learn one setup. Mark Minervini, Mark Douglas, me, uh, Mike Webster. Yeah, he talks about learning just a couple, one or two setups. That's all you need to be successful in this game. So anyway, as you can tell, I get a little bit passionate about that. So I'm going to get my emotions back in control.
mm.
And guys, hey, I apologize. We did not get to the stock, the indexes, nor the stocks we wanted to cover. But I think, Michael, we covered some really great stuff today.
Yeah, I think we did too. Hopefully, you guys out there, wherever you're watching or listening to, found this valuable. If you did, let us know. Dennis and I would love to hear about it.
We absolutely would. And I will encourage you to, it'll be down in the description. One, check out either Mike's book or my book, or both of the books, because I think they can give you a really good foundation for going forward and knowing the solid, rock solid questions to ask as you proceed with your journey in becoming a master trader. So thanks, Mike.
All right.
Aloha.
Thank you, Dennis.
And
Aloha.
as we say, God bless.
God bless.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Uh-oh. There we go.